lower body, each consisting of 4 exercises. The first exercise we'll use to mobilize the upper body is over and backs, which can be done with either a band or a towel. This exercise is used to open up and stretch the shortened chest and shoulder muscles that are pulling you forward into this hunched posture. Here, you'll simply grip the towel or band with a wide overhand grip, pull it apart slightly to create tension, and then, without bending your elbows, raise it over your head and behind your back, going only as far as you're capable of. Then when it gets behind your back, focus on pulling your hands apart. Start with a wider grip and over time, narrow your grip as your mobility improves. Next, we're going to move on to the cobra. Lay on your stomach with your feet about hip width apart, toes facing down, and hands by your sides positioned directly under your shoulders. Next, contract your quads so that your knees are off the ground, bring your shoulder blades down and back, and then lengthen your spine by thinking about bringing your upper body forward and up by using and engaging your mid and lower back muscles. You should not be muscling your way up by pushing your arms into the ground. They should simply be there for guidance and stability as you lengthen. Hold for a few deep breaths at the top position before coming down and repeating for more reps. The next exercise we'll use here will be used to help correct some of the asymmetry. These will perform a simple stand and reach where you hold one hand at your hip and then with your other arm, you want to extend up and back behind your body at a diagonal. Think about reaching towards the ceiling and experiment with different angles until you find the angle that best creates a stretch in your side shown here. Hold the end position for about 5 to 10 seconds and then repeat for reps before switching to the other side. And you'll probably notice that one side is tighter than the other as a result of your slouching, in which case you'd want to spend a little bit more time and do more reps on that tighter side. Next, we're going to move on to strengthening some of the weakened wall slides with chin nods. Here, simply stand against a wall with ideally both your upper back and lower back completely flat against it. Then slide your arms up and down against it like so. Then, with the back of your head against the wall, simultaneously perform reps of chin nods where you tuck your chin into your chest by using those deep neck flexors to basically give yourself a double chin. As you raise your arms, you should feel a strong contraction in your mid-back, and as you perform the chin nods, you should feel them out. You can perform shoulder W's like so as an alternative. Next, it's time to move on to focusing a little bit more on the mid and lower body muscles with the second routine. To start off, work on thoracic or mid-back mobility that gets stiffened from sitting and not only promotes that hunched over posture, but can also lead to problems and compensations in the lower back and lower body as well. To do so, we use thoracic rotations, where you get on all fours, sit your hips back towards your heels, place one hand extended out in front of you, and the other held behind your neck like so. Then simply bring your elbow down towards the floor, and while following your elbow with your eyes, rotate your elbow up towards the ceiling as far as you can. Hold the top position briefly and then come back down for more reps before moving to the next side. You should feel a good stretch in your mid-back area as you do so. Next, we're going to move on to stretching out the hip flexors, which have become tightened over time and are pulling the pelvis into that anterior pelvic tilt. To do so, we use a simple kneeling hip flexor stretch. But the key to this exercise's effectiveness, which most people overlook, is to first posteriorly tilt your pelvis by contracting your glutes and abs. Then, only once you've properly set your pelvis, gently lean forward until you feel a deep stretch in the front hip of your back leg. Hold the end position for 10 deep breaths or so, and then switch to the other side. Next, we're going to move on to a stretch. For these, you can use a couch or any elevated platform and cross your front leg on top of it and fully extend your back leg to lengthen out your hip flexor. Then, with your hands placed on your foot and your knee, brace your core and simply bend at your hips to bring your chest forward until you feel a deep stretch in the side of your front hip. Hold it there, but feel free to move around at different angles to tweak the stretch a bit. Then you can switch to the other side. You'll likely notice that one side is significantly tighter than the other, especially if you tend to cross your legs quite a bit when you're sitting. If so, spend a little bit more time on the tighter side. And if needed, an alternative is to perform this similar stretch but seated with your foot rested on your opposite knee and again leaning forward by dropping your chest until you feel a stretch. Lastly, we're going to move on to glute bridges to help awaken and strengthen the glutes that tend to become inactive. And glute bridges, lay on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Then first move into posterior pelvic tilt by contracting your glutes and abs. Once that's set, use your glutes to thrust your hips into the air while keeping your back straight rather than arched. Hold the top position while contracting your glutes before coming down for more reps. Over time, you can then progress to single leg glute bridges as you get stronger, which can help correct any strength asymmetries you may have in your glutes. So here are the 2 routines all summarized with rep ranges and timing guidance for each of the exercises.